You see this part right here that starts with the daytime running light, goes all the way down and across? If this were a face, what would that look like to you? It looks like a gigantic smiley face, and with a vehicle this good, being this cool, how could it not be happy? That's what I'm talking about, Cadillac. It's just a big old happy $100,000 SUV. Hey everybody, Brock Frady here, helping you enjoy your ride. In this video, we're gonna take a look at this glorious 2021 Cadillac Escalade ESV. We're gonna go over the outside, the inside, and of course, I'm gonna end up in the driver's seat where I'll show you how all the buttons and screens and doodads work. Then we'll take it on a ride. But before we begin, I would like to say a huge thank you to Impex Auto Sales in Greensboro, North Carolina for the opportunity to film this glorious Cadillac. I'll be sure to leave all of their contact information, including their website, in the description box below. And I'm gonna leave links in the description box below that are called timestamps. You can just click on those and skip to a certain part of the Escalade video that you want to see in particular. I hope this helps your viewing experience. A really good thing about driving the Escalade ESV in and out of parking lots is that because of how the cameras work, especially when you're in reverse and everything, the augmented reality and all, it doesn't feel as big as it really is. Cadillac has done a great job of making it feel a little more nimble and a little more user-friendly in parking lot situations, which is really important because this is a great big vehicle. One of the things I like about the engine shutoff feature in the Escalade is the fact that this is a very high level luxury vehicle, so there's lots of sound dampening materials all throughout the cabin, the engine firewall and everything. So it makes it so that the automatic engine shutoff feature is not as cumbersome as you might think. I'm sitting at a stop sign right now, the engine is off, the air is blowing cold, I'm not burning any emissions right now, and then as soon as I let my foot off the brake, the engine's gonna start right back up. Oh, there it goes. But it doesn't feel cumbersome, it just feels pretty natural. And as that feature is on more and more vehicles, that's gonna be something that just becomes more of a regular part of driving. I love the acceleration. I'll show you the AR camera here in just a second, the augmented reality camera. That would actually take a little bit of getting used to, but it's actually not that bad. It adds a whole new element to the drive of the vehicle. I think it also, again, like I said about the parking lot thing, it kind of shrinks it and makes it feel more manageable, more easily usable. The ride is extremely quiet, as you would imagine. I have this in more of the soft setting driving mode right now. It does have a bit of a trucky feel to it. I can feel a little bit of shudder as I'm going over small bumps, but that's kind of to be expected. It's par for the course. But right now I'm driving on a parkway on a nice smooth road, and it absolutely feels wonderful. The heads-up display is nice and clear. It shows me my speed limit right now. It shows me how fast I'm going, of course. If I were listening to the radio, it would show me that. Then in the rear view mirror, I have the setting that's showing me the camera that's pointing out the back. All really, really nice. It makes it so that my surroundings are less intimidating to be in a vehicle of this size. And again, as I said before, when I was going over the screens, all of the screens, the way everything wraps around me, it makes it feel like everything is super accessible and just right here basically at my fingertips. I'm gonna do a quick U-turn right here, and we're gonna see the turning radius of this thing. I hope I don't have to do a 3-point turn because this is kind of a tight. No, it's gonna make it. That's a good turning radius. I don't know if you could tell at all, but here goes. Whoa, let's get on it. Well, it kicked my camera over a little bit, so that shows you something about the torque. There's very little wind noise. I think that the glass may be double paned. Let's see. Yep, the glass is all double paned up front. So right here, this is actually 2 pieces of glass with an acoustic laminate in between the 2 pieces of glass. So I think the windshield is done the same way, so that makes it so much nicer to reduce wind noise. What a fantastic thing. Also, another thing is that this thing doesn't feel cavernous at all. That's one of the things about big three-row SUVs, is that when you start getting into the back, it gets all dark and cavernous feeling, and it kind of feels like it's enclosed. That's not the case at all with this vehicle, mainly because of that great big old panoramic moonroof, and whenever it's open, or whenever the slide is open, it feels really nice. I just crossed over the center line here in this road that I'm on, and I felt the right panel in my seat bottom vibrate. That is a cool feature, because it lets you know, hey, bim, bim, you need to get back over, pal. That's a great feature. I don't know if it'll vibrate the steering wheel as well or not, but doesn't matter if it does, because with that seat portion there, that's really nice. So here's what the augmented drive looks like. This is not looking out the front windshield. This is augmented reality. That is brilliant. I've got a green light here, so I'm gonna just keep going. And you can see the speed, you can see the tachometer, you can see the speed limit down there. You can see how much gas we have, what gear I'm in, what mode I'm in as far as my four-wheel drive system is concerned, how many miles, my compass, all of that. You can also see the lane keeping assist system there. And then when you combine that with the fact that you have your heads-up display right there on the showing on the road there, it just gives you all of this information at your fingertips. It's great. I'm gonna cross the line here and see, yep, I can feel it's trying to steer me back over, so that's good. So that AR is absolutely fantastic. The other thing too that I can't show you right now that this has is infrared, so you can actually see this display on your dash in this position that we're looking at now, in an infrared way, so you can actually see at night in a much more enhanced way. So check that out. I'll give you an idea of what I'm seeing versus what the camera is seeing. That is so great. Here's the other view. This is just a regular digital speedometer here. That's really nice. Over on the left side, you've just got basic things. In the middle, you have your speedometer. Over on the right, all audio. One of the things that I like most about the new Cadillac Escalade is the fact that as soon as you see one, you know exactly what it is. I mean, look at this grille. This one is more like a sport model. This is the ESV, so it's longer, but it's got the blacked out wheels and the bigger blacked out grille. There's no chrome on the grille. That's okay though, because I think that lends to the aggressive, kind of beefy, sporty look to this thing. And the thing I like about this one in particular is the fact that it's that pearl white color, and with the black contrast look and the panels and the wheels and everything, that just makes it look so much more, I don't know, rich and just impressive looking. Starting with the very front of it is that big, massive honeycomb looking grille with the cool Cadillac logo right up front. You also have these lights that whenever you press the unlock on the unlock key or on the key fob, you can see that the light pulses. You see those lights pulsing there? And so what you have is the turn signals, they light up twice, and then the white lights come on, like daytime running lights, they pulse a little bit and then they stay on. That's really nice at night, so it lights up the ambient area around the vehicle so you know exactly where you are. Check out what that looks like from the rear. It did the same basic pattern, you know, the turn signals flash twice, and then those rear tail lights go and they pulsed up. Watch this. Here it comes. Is that not the coolest thing? I don't know why I like that so much, but I just think that's really, really a nice touch. And then they come on, they stay on for just a little bit. And of course they're LEDs, so they're just so cool and fluid looking. This is a big vehicle. It doesn't feel overwhelmingly huge when you're in the driver's seat, and that's kind of weird to say, but it's just the way it is because of how the cockpit is arranged. What I wanted to point out here is just the sheer length of this thing. Look how large this is. One of the things too that Cadillac really wanted to focus on was how they expanded, or they made the rear of the vehicle behind the third row seat 70% larger than the outgoing generation. That is absolutely incredible, and let's take a look at that right now. All you have to do is press a button on the key fob twice. It opens up the rear, and look how much room is back there. That is a massive space. There's also a bank of buttons right here on the right side inside this interior wall. And that's one of the coolest things about the Escalade, is that the second and the third row seats, they are so easy to fold. They're so easy to use. Here's the bank of buttons I was talking about, and this operates the second row and the third row, and it's absolutely perfect in its execution. I love everything about it. One of the other things I love about this bank of buttons is to the very far left of it, you've got an electrical outlet. Nice. All right, let's take a look at all these. This is for the second row. This is for the third row. Notice how on the third row operation, you have an arrow that goes down and an arrow that goes up. This is the left control. This is the right control. So this is driver's side, passenger side, driver's side, passenger side. On the second row operation, you have a 2 times icon, so that means you press it twice in order to complete the folding operation. So it will fold the seat back, and it will actually disengage the seat bottom and tumble the whole second row seat forward. Absolutely genius. Then on the third row, you're going to press this down, and it will fold the seat down flat into the floor. Then you can press it back up, and it will literally raise the seat back up. Let's look at how that works. Here goes the third row. I'm going to do the driver's side first, and notice how it folds the headrest down for me. I don't have to do that manually. Boom. God, that is brilliant. Now I have a massive space that I can use to carry whatever I want to carry in this huge cargo area. But if I need more cargo, let's go to the second row. Driver's side, press it once, folds the headrest and everything all in one flip. If I want to keep it there and I want to have a flat floor for a big thing, that's fine, I can do that. Here's the passenger side, boom. Now look at that huge area that I have. But there's more. I can press that again and it tumbles it forward. Again. Now that is going to be great if you're loading kids into the rear of the vehicle. Somebody needs to get into the third row. But look at that. That is just so cool. And all I did was press buttons from the outside. Now, here comes the third row, driver's side, right back up. And it doesn't take forever, and there's no beeping like a backup garbage truck or anything. It just does the job. That is a great idea, Cadillac. I would honestly like to see these headrests fold back up, but hey. Also notice on the back of the third row seat, you've got tethers right there. That is going to be for child safety seats, so you can put up to 3 child safety seats there in the rear of the vehicle. Now let's just say I don't have access to the back, and I want to get into the third row, like I'm a kid and I need to jump into the third row real quick. You see it says ×2 here, so that corresponds with the button in the rear panel that we just took a look at. So all I need to do is pull this twice. Step 1, step 2. That is a lesson in how to design a second row seat. That is brilliant. Now that may not seem like a huge deal. Why in the world am I getting so worked up about how the folding of the seats in the third row and the second row are all important and everything? Well, it's actually important because it's a practical thing. If you have this vehicle, the Cadillac ESV, then you're likely going to have a big family. You're going to be carrying a lot of cargo or a lot of people or both. The thing about that is that it's a practical matter, so that you are going to be using these seats a lot in all kinds of different configurations. It's important to be able to do it easily. You can also operate all of those functions just like we did in the back panel and everything, or from the side. You can also do it from the driver's seat. Absolutely genius. I love that feature. Another nice way to access the rear of the Cadillac Escalade is to simply kick. And check out this cool little trick. That right there is a light. Let me show you. You see it on my hand? And it's a Cadillac emblem. That is gonna be cast on the ground about right there. So let's see that right there. And you can see it's going to be just to the left of this tailpipe. If it were nighttime, this would be easier, but it's gonna be about right there. And that is to highlight at night where that area for you to kick your foot and to open the rear gate is located. Let's take a look at the key. On the left side at the top is lock, on the right side is unlock. Down below on the second row is remote start. To the right of that is how you open the rear tailgate. Down below that on the first row is how you open the rear glass or pop the rear glass. And then to the right of that is your panic alarm. If you look on the bottom of the key, there's a little button right here. You can press that in and it reveals a physical key. That will never be used to start the Escalade. That's only used in the event that the battery in the key fob dies and you have to use this to actually get into the vehicle physically with the keyhole on the outside of the door handle. But this works super well. All you have to do is press it twice to start it, and then it fires right up. I thought we were done with the second row seating, but we're not, because I just want to point out how luxurious it is. We pointed out all the functions of it, but now let's look at the luxury of it. Take a look at the inside of this door panel. Look at the stitching, the wood trim interior, that metal. All of this actually just goes into a beautiful combination of just luxury. It just works really well. The door is simple as far as its actual functions is concerned, because you only have a door handle, you have your lock and unlock, and your power window control. But look at how it's all put together in the package, and then take a look at the material right there. I don't know if you can see that or not, but it's like a deep, it's got all this color inside of it. That's just super good attention to detail. I also love the contrasting colors there as well. It's like a caramel color on the door arm or on the armrest that matches the seat cushions or the seats. And then it's like this dark, deep, rich, chocolate looking color for everything else. It just looks so warm and inviting. And take a look at the cross stitching there and the piping on the top of the shoulders of the seat backs. The Cadillac V icon. It's so nice. And the seats are really comfy. Of course, there's going to be a ton of room back here. It is an ESV Cadillac. It's a boat. So there's going to be plenty of room. No issue there at all. Then you have this really cool center console with heated seat controls on each end of this silver bank of buttons, climate control settings, manually controlling the fan speed, controlling the temperature, controlling the output of the fan. That's just so cool. Watch this, nice cup holders. I love the placement of the cup holders. That is a great place to put those. And then you have charging ports under the cup holders and another power outlet right there to the right of that. I don't think I've mentioned the panoramic sunroof yet, but there it is. It's beautiful, it's big. It makes a big vehicle feel even bigger with those two great big glass panels. And then coming around to the driver's seat, you can see that it matches, of course, all the coloring, all the stitching, the wood, the metal, everything of that rear door. But you have more controls right there. There's a great big old bank of buttons right there, and that's going to be for your mirror controls, your window controls, memory seat controls, exiting, all that stuff. And then of course you have heated and air conditioned seat controls, lock, unlock, and your door handle there. What a beautiful interior door panel. And then of course you have a ton of controls on the driver's seat here. Again, that is just so nice. Piping, all that beautiful quilting and the leather there, the ventilated seat portion. I like how even the ventilated portion extends up to the headrest. That just gives it this beautiful continuity in conjunction with the seat bottom and the seat back all the way up into the headrest. And look at these speakers in the headrest. I've not even gotten into the audio system, but this thing is ridiculous. I think it's 37 or 38 speakers. You can control it in all kinds of ways. And by the way, the audio is by AKG. I believe that's a Harman Kardon company, but I'm not 100% on that. I've done a little bit of research on it, but the main research that I've done on it is turning the volume up on this thing, and even at like up to 30, it feels like it's just gonna blow your teeth out, and that's only up to 30. So I don't wanna make it seem like it's like harsh or anything. It's quality sound, but it is loud. One of the first things that I noticed about getting into the cockpit of the Cadillac is that it truly is that. It's like Cadillac has designed all the screens, they're actually curved, all the screens that you see, and the center console, the stacks and everything, the seat and all the surroundings are all driver centric. So it makes it feel like everything is within your reach. Feels like everything is oriented around you. Everything's reachable, easily accessible. I can reach everything as far as the screen is concerned, the shifter, steering wheel, everything. It just makes sense and it works well. Over here on the driver's side, in front of my left knee, is a whole bank of buttons, and this has to do with the four-wheel drive capabilities of the Escalade. Over here you see auto, and that makes it so that it will automatically switch from two-wheel drive into four-wheel drive or all-wheel drive based on the driving condition. Two-wheel drive, four-wheel, and this is for high mode, and then you have to select terrain mode for that. Then you can go here to mode if you want to, and that's what comes up on your screen. So you have drive mode, then you just keep pressing this button to select the different drive modes. I drove over here in tour mode, and that was a nice, smooth, supple ride. Then moving down this bank of buttons, there's your park brake, trailer tow control, or trailer braking, all that. And then this is your gauge brightness. Now, one of the absolute most cool things about the Escalade is this touch screen over to the left, directly in front of your headlight stalk. So this is, like I said, it's touch screen, and you can see at the top gauge is highlighted. Then you have map, then you have AR camera, augmented reality camera, and then you have three selections down here at the very bottom. Well, this, you can tell gauge is actually enabled right now because you can see the gauges. And so what these top three on the left have to do with is what the display looks like all right here. So you can see gauge is enabled, so you can see all your speedometer, your fuel gauge, your tachometer, all those things, mileage, and this is all totally configurable. And then you have, of course, your audio right there. Well, over here on the left side, you can go back and you can hit map, and that is going to put the map right there. I love, love, love that. So you can actually have your navigation system right here, and a point of interest input into here, say your house or a restaurant or something, and then you can, that actually frees up this screen right here for the passenger to be able to do something here if they want to, or just not have the navigation screen over here only. You can move it over here directly in your line of sight to driving. Then augmented reality camera. This is probably my favorite. So when you hit that, it says starting augmented reality. So look at that. It turns the front camera into whatever it sees in reality right in front of the Escalade. That is absolutely awesome. And this is critical that this camera be of good quality. And I cannot describe to you, I hope my camera is able to pick up just what good quality. It's like it's in super high definition. That is a great camera quality. Moving back over to the touch screen, you can press the very bottom icon here, and that gives you all kinds of trip information. You can see down here that there are three little blocks that you can select, which means you can then swipe this screen and it goes to trip number 2, and then finally over to the far right. Isn't that nice? That is so cool. Then you can press this and that brings up your selection for gauge, map, and AR camera. We've already been there before. And then you can press HUD, and that's heads-up display, and that controls the settings for your heads-up display, whether it's height or brightness. Speaking of heads-up display, there it is right there. You can display all kinds of things on that heads-up display, audio, navigation stuff. Taking a look at the steering wheel, on the left side of the steering wheel is your cruise control, so you can see resume, set, cancel, and activate basically your cruise control. And then you can push up and down, and that's going to control the speed. Then you have your heated steering wheel. Then right here is called gap adjust. You can see I just pushed that and it says gap adjust right there. So this adjusts the gap between you and the vehicle in front of you whenever you're using radar cruise control. You then have voice commands here. Conversation enhancement mode is right here. It looks like an ear. There's a microphone right by me in the driver's seat, and I can press this and it will actually turn conversation enhancement mode on, and it makes it so that my voice comes through the microphone and it goes through the speakers of the Escalade and it goes into the very third row. So that makes it so that they can hear me more easily. Nice and cool. So you can actually yell at your kids very, very easily, and they can't say, huh, I didn't hear you. Right here is all kinds of settings for audio controls. So this is skip track. This is actually the audio control function itself. And since I have the augmented reality up here, it's not displaying the audio on the right now using this wheel. However, it is displaying it in the heads-up display. So that allows me to surf my FM stations right there if I want to surf those there. Then I can press the music note, and that changes my function. So I can press this and then use this wheel, and I can go AM, FM, XM, Bluetooth, Alexa, all the different audio functions there. And then this is Bluetooth. It says on the heads-up display right now, no phone connected. And then this is muting the stereo. And then this controls the audio volume down and up. Your headlight stalk is over here, and of course you have your turn signals, you have your headlights, auto, off, on, park, and daytime running lights. I recommend just leaving them in auto, and you can see that this is the portion that actually turns. This is fixed, so you just turn it to auto, and it makes them so that they cut on automatically with the sunset. And now we're looking at our turn signal stalk. You can see you have high, low, auto, off, and then you can actually just pull it down once if you just want to wipe them. But I would just recommend leaving them in auto because that's automatic rain sensing wipers. Then your rear controls over here, and you pull it to wash off the front glass. You push the stalk to wash off the rear glass. Right now we're taking a look at the gear shifter, and this is kind of a unique gear shifter. This looks like it's more of a European situation than it is a General Motors situation with that gear selector. You have park here, and then you pull and you push forward to do these different functions. So you have reverse, neutral, park, and drive. And then over here on the left you have auto hold. That's a brake hold feature. Right here is the engine shut-off management system, so that when you come to a stop, it can shut off the engine for you if you wanted to. And then right here is your lane keeping assist feature, so that will keep you inside of your lane by nudging the steering wheel to the left and to the right. And then back here are a lot of controls, mainly for the center screen, that beautiful big curved screen right there in the middle. This is going to be the volume button for your audio system. This is audio system settings and controls, Bluetooth, navigation, information screen for the vehicle, and this is so thorough. I'll show you that in just a second. This is a great big button to generally control all kinds of things. You can go up, down, left, and right, and then press for select. Your home button, back button, and then emergency flashers. We'll cover all of these in just a second. And I love the setup that's right here. You would think normally that this would just be a little slot that you put your cell phone in, and that is what it is, but this is actually the charging port, wireless charging port for your cell phone. A lot of vehicles have a pad or have a flat space that you put that on, and I like this because it keeps it in place even during spirited driving, or it's not gonna risk it coming off of the flat surface. But the other thing is that it's got these little things in there, these little things that stick out that make it so you can take your phone and put it down in there and it kind of like locks it in solid so that thing doesn't move at all. And now it's charging. And here's another cool thing. I can see on my screen that it's charging my phone right now, but I can also see right here on this display that it's charging the phone as well. That's a great way to do that. Okay, now let's take a look at how this glorious screen works. You can see over on the far left side, you have a home icon. You see that over there, highlighted in blue? I'm using that big wheel that's in the middle of the console behind the gear shifter right now. So I'm turning it left and right, and there's the home button. Turning it right, audio, navigation, phone, vehicle information. So that's super nice. Nice and easy right there, right? Well, I can then go, and if I want to get into any of these screens, I can just press that button down, and now there's vehicle information, and it all puts it in this big circular floaty looking thing right all there. So here's what I recommend doing first off, is going home and then going settings and then getting into the settings menu, and that will allow you to control all of these different things. You can see the subcategories there. So you have settings, then you have system, vehicle, and search. Okay, so whenever you go over to system, you can then take this big wheel and push it to the right, and that will allow you to control all of these things. So you can tell by the nature of there being an arrow right there that you can highlight these, or you can go deeper into this display setting. So there's display, and then I have heads-up display, instrument cluster, and radio display. I'm going to go instrument cluster, and so check that out. This allows me to control the layout of the AR camera, Augmented Reality. So then I can press right, I can go AR, gauge, map, all of those different things. I'm going to leave it the way it is. Then I can control the view, so I can customize the layout. Do I want my left view to be fuel economy? Do I want it to be time and date, oil life, tire pressure? All of these things. Holy free holies. That is so cool. So I'm going to leave it the way it is with fuel economy, because with a vehicle of this size, you need to know how much gas you have left. Right view, speed information, all of these different things. Super customizable. Speed warning, color, I love all that. Going left, and then I can go radio display, heads-up display. I can change the contents of the heads-up display, and I actually enabled it to make me show everything. So speed, navigation, audio, all that. So that's super nice. So that was all just inside of display in system. Then I've got sounds, maximum startup volume. Here's one of the cool things about this, and I was thinking about this earlier, because this thing has such a banging stereo system with 548 speakers. I can set the maximum startup volume so it doesn't blast my ears whenever I get into the Escalade. So maximum startup volume, it allows me to limit it. So you can see that. Like I said before, I had this thing and I turned it up to 30 with some like hip hop music, and it was, goodness, it was crazy loud. So I'm gonna leave that at 30 for the maximum startup volume. Then there's voice settings, all of this. Goodness gracious, that's just crazy. I love all of that. Conversation enhancement, time, date, phone projection, that makes it so that you can see your Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. All of those are on. Super nice. Wi-Fi, all that. Then I can go vehicle, valet mode. This allows me to put in a 4-digit code, and it's going to lock out certain things in the infotainment system, only to be able to be unlocked by a 4-digit code. That's pretty cool in case you go to a restaurant that has a valet. And then team driver. I wanted to highlight team driver because this is absolutely awesome. You can program a key, and I've already programmed the team driver code as 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I'm going to hit enter, and now it's going to unlock team driver mode. I recommend changing the team driver mode setting from 1, 2, 3, 4, or the code for that, making it something a little harder. But this is a team driver speed limit limiter, and it makes it so that you can make the maximum speed go up to 85. I actually would want to make it less than that, but that's just me. Team driver speed warning, and audio volume limit. I love that. You can actually make it so that you can set the what if you took it down to like 16 and they couldn't figure out why? Oh, I just love that stuff. Just messing with your kid's head. That's what this is all about, actually. The other thing too that I love about Teen Driver is report card. This is brilliant. So I can press enter, and then look at that. Report card displays a list of monitored events for the Teen Driver, and look at all of these monitored events: traction control, stability, anti-lock brake, distance unbuckled. How about that? So you throw the keys to the Escalade to your Teen Driver and you say, have fun, be careful, see you at 11 or whatever. And then you can come back and you can say, hey Cadillac, tell me how my Teen Driver drove you when they were out last night. Did they drive unbuckled? Did they drive above the speed limit? If so, how far? How many times did I have to warn them that they were speeding? How many times did they press on the gas and give it the wide open throttle? Were there any forward collision reverts or alerts? God, that is just brilliant. Every car should have this. So that is Teen Driver. And then you can tell your teen, hey, I knew exactly what you did last night. Cadillac told on you, and we need to have a talk. Here's your report card. So that is just absolutely fantastic. And that's Teen Driver. Rear seat reminder. This is beautiful because it'll remind you every time to check the rear seat so that you don't leave a valuable human life back there in the back seat unattended without you being in the car. That is just wonderful. I think that to me, that should just always be on. It shouldn't be customizable. I don't know. That's just me. Collision and detection systems. All of this stuff just is absolutely wonderful. Alert type refers to the type of alert you'll receive from the driver assistance systems to help you avoid crashes by beeps, safety alert, or seat vibration pulses. That is just fantastic. So safety seat alert, do you want it to do that? Sure, that's wonderful. Forward collision, pedestrian detection, lane change alert. That's just all fantastic. And I love how it gives you a visual and then it gives you just basically a quick summary in a one sentence format to tell you what this feature is, and you can then decide whether or not you want it. That's pretty cool. So much thought went into this. Comfort and convenience. Lighting, power door locks. You can see now why I said that I want you to get into the vehicle and go to home and then settings and then explore all this before you really start to use it, because then you can actually customize it exactly the way you want it to be for you, for your driving habits and comfort and safety and all those things. That's just awesome. Lighting, here's something interesting about lighting that I like: ambient lighting. So you can actually control the color. Look at that, isn't that wonderful? So you can change the color of the ambient lighting and the brightness and everything. And you can see here where the ambient lighting is going to be because of this display. So easy. It takes real complicated things, and just by adding this one little sentence right there on the display makes it so that it's so much easier to use. Gosh, that's great. Remote start, seat position, key relearn. And that's all under vehicle. We still have one more. So you can go search, and then you can find all kinds of stuff here. And all I'm doing is turning the big knob down here in the center console. So this is basically a glossary of all the things that I can search for, and let's just pick one. And then it's going to give me a nice description, all the stuff that I have seen before, but that's just all put together in one, almost like owner's manual right there. Fantastic way to do that. So that was under settings, under home. Then there's audio. All right there. This is pretty self-explanatory. You can see over here on the left side, these are all of my different audio things. And I haven't been really touching the screen. I've been using this wheel because I want to keep my hand out of the view of the camera, but this is all touch screen as well. So you don't have to use the wheel. You can just use your hand if you want to, but I've just been using the wheel for the view of the camera. So adaptive volume, that makes it so that it just based on road noise, ambient road noise. Radio data system, so all this, pretty nice. So that's audio settings. And then navigation is right here, that's next. So there's our nav system. And I actually recommend that if you're not using the augmented reality in the, the center cluster in front of the steering wheel, that you take this screen and you kind of zoom out a little bit. And if you want to put a more zoomed in version of the navigation system in front of your steering wheel on that display, that'll give you a really good idea of exactly where you are in conjunction with your map. Search, recents. So you can search points of interest right here, POI. So then I can go here and it turns it into a wheel of different things that I can select all right there. And again, I'm using the wheel that's in the center console. Nice. Recents, favorites, settings. So all nav settings right there. Then this is Bluetooth. So I can select that and I can connect a phone. And it's sensing that an iPhone is in the car or in the Escalade, but that it's disconnected. I can go here. I can hit connect phone, connecting iPhone. So if I want to connect an iPhone, I can do that right there. So then I can go to the very last one, and that is all vehicle information. This is really, really nice. You can also see, I meant to tell you this earlier, you can also see there's little hash marks right there, and that tells you how many pages are in this certain screen. So under vehicle information, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pages. Using the wheel again, no missed alerts, oil life, tire pressure, fuel economy. So this is all vehicle information using the wheel in the center console to let me know. God, look at that. It even tells me how much brake pad I have left. So when you go to the garage and they tell you need to have your brake pads done because they're at 5%, you can go here and make sure that that's right. And again, here's the thing about all of this. Don't get overwhelmed by it. All you have to do is get into your new Escalade and just play with it. Just kind of look around. You're not going to break anything or mess anything up. Just make sure you get into it and you actually do what you want to do with it to customize it. It would be a shame to pay this much for a vehicle and not have it function for exactly the way you want it to work. So you owe it to yourself to get in here and to learn this stuff. Hopefully this will help you, this whole tutorial. That's what I'm here for. And then here is a bank of climate buttons. This is all pretty easy, pretty self-explanatory. If you've driven a car in the past 10, 15 years, then you pretty much already know what all of this stuff is. Over here on the left, that's just to cut the whole system on. Auto makes it work automatically according to the temperature that you set here. And then this is automatic fan speed or fan direction. Then you have your temperature controls here and you move it up and down. See that? Then auto is here. Max defrost for the front and for the rear. AC, recirculate, and sync. Sync makes these temperatures match in case you're in the vehicle by yourself or the passenger doesn't mind having the same temperature as you do. The display that we're looking at right now, this big bank of buttons, is going to be for your sunroof, also for your home link, that's your garage door opener, your map lights, all of this stuff. So this is pretty neat. And remember, I told you that you had controls for the second row seats right there. That's those right there. So you can just reach up, tap these buttons, and fold the second row. And then right here, this controls the opening of the rear door. So you can actually control how high that opens based on turning this knob here. Right here is for your sunroof. Right here opens the sun screen. So this is actually not opening the panoramic roof. It's just opening the screen that lets you see the glass. And then this tilts the front portion of the sunroof to make it vent. And then right here is your OnStar system right there. Super nice. I absolutely love the rear view mirror, and here's why. This is just a regular rear view mirror. You can see right here, I'm talking to you, there's my camera, all of that stuff. But then you can actually flip it and it becomes a monitor. So that allows me to see out the back. And this is perfect in case there's rear passengers or rear cargo or something in the way, and that allows me to see out of the rear without any blocking at all. There's no windows I have to look through or anything. That is such a cool view of the back, and it happens in real time. This also is controls the brightness of the screen and everything, so I can raise it and lower it, the brightness, all right there. Here's another cool thing with your home screen. You can see right here, I'm under the home screen menu, and then I can go over here and go to the right, and I can see APA, Advanced Park Assist. This allows the Escalade basically to find parking spaces and see them on. I can do automatic parking assist on arrival or departure. Then I can X out of that. But then I can go back here and go to camera. This is so nice. So you can see over on the left side, I have camera, and see I'm using the scroll button now, or the dial, and you can see it's on the front camera right now. So then I can select the front camera. Do I want to look at it normally, wide, overhead, side? So this is looking down, the camera's in the door, so you can see when I open the door. There you go. And so I'm just gonna go normal, and then you can see on the right side it's an automatic overhead. But then I can go back and I can pick a different camera. And there's the rear camera. Do I want it to be normal, wide, overhead, or side? So then I can go over here, and I think I might want the rear camera as a wide view. Then I'm gonna press left on that the knob, and then I'm gonna go to this camera here. So check that out. 3D overhead camera that takes me on a tour of the outside of the vehicle, so that I can see if anything is around me that I'm gonna hit or whatever. How cool is that? Okay, everybody, that's gonna do it for our look at the 2021 Cadillac Escalade ESV. I hope you enjoyed the video as much as I enjoyed bringing it to you. Remember, hit that subscribe button, and also be sure to share this video with somebody that you think will enjoy it as much as you did. But remember, the most important thing of all, have a wonderful day, everybody.